Okay, hello there. This is the Real Guardian. Yesterday was my birthday, so like, comment, subscribe, maybe become a Patreon supporter. Um, this is What If Issei from High School takes Hey Godzilla as a thumbnail. And just before we get started, I recently got one of those spam porn comment link things some people make. Just warning you, if that gets put on my channel, I'm deleting it because I actually do have a small percentage of this audience that watches me that is under the age of 18, and I do not approve of that because I try my best not to make any of my videos have the age restriction barrier on it, but there's at least one series when I do the video explaining some future projects and what I'm going to be doing with the channel around the 15th that I will sadly have to put that on there. But I digress. Please do not do that because I will delete the comment no matter who you are. Now that being said, let's finally get started. Issei has gotten out of the bath, dressing himself, and heading out of the room. I'm still thinking about the things Argot had told to him. As he heard the front door open, his family had finally come back. When they walked in, they all said, "Say hello to the new Godzilla." As she came out wearing a dark green kimono, she ran up to Issei as he looked at her and blushed at the sight, saying, "You look beautiful, Godzilla." As she smiled and hugged Issei, as he got himself together mentally and physically, finally saying to everyone, "I've been thinking about it. I think I should try to teach her how to speak and read first. Then we can deal with her learning how to write. After all, we got about 6 months before school officially starts. So I think she'd be fine if she learned most of everything by then. Plus, that I'm the only person she really trusts. I think she'll only really listen to me right now." As the whole family had a small discussion and just agreed with Issei that it was the best course of action. After this, it was late evening, and after Issei convinced Godzilla to be a good girl so she'd get a treat later on, that she'd finally was listening to Issei's grandmother and mother about how to be washed. As Issei left the bathroom and was now laying in his room thinking to himself, after a while contacting Argot and asking, "Did I do the right thing?" making her my familiar. After all, I gave her human form, which I think she's very happy about. Thinking back on it, was it okay for me to do this after all? I mean, didn't I force her into this contract? As Argot responded with, she said yes to the contract. And once she can speak properly, why don't you ask her about it? Something you two could discuss. As she took a deep breath and sang, "But she's almost back here. You probably should get some sleep, because after all, tomorrow you're going to need a train to use my power and get her power under control." To make myself clear, as Issei said yes. As her voice disappeared, Godzilla came running in and jumped into the bed very quickly, getting into it and grabbing hold of Issei's back, calling her face into it. This caused him to blush, thinking about it, saying, "Okay, I'm gonna have to get used to this, aren't I?" As he takes a deep breath and sighs about it. Plus, I did get used to her being 100 feet tall, so this should be alright. It's now the following day, as they have gone back to the cliff area where they've met. As Issei was walking to it with her, as Godzilla was holding his hand, smiling, as today was the best day of her life, while he was holding a small bag. As he finally was talking to Arga about how they should use their power, with her basically responding with, "Generally, a sacred gear's power involves your emotions. At best, that's all I can really tell you, so try to use that. But you really need to get Godzilla's power and control after all what happened this morning." As he sighed, saying, "Yeah, let's make that a priority." As they got to the cliff, Issei finally let go of Godzilla's hand, and then said to her, "The first test for today is this," as he showed her the sack he's been holding, as he pulled out a small rock from it, telling her that "I do not want you to crush them." Because the whole reason why they agreed to make her controlling her power a priority is everyone's had a rough first day with Godzilla. She broke her chopsticks just by touching them. When she grabbed a hold of a bowl she was handed with just her finger, she shattered it. And while they were she was trying to wash her hands, she completely broke the faucet, so now their grandparents and mom are trying to get all that fixed. As she really needs to learn to control her strength. As Issei finally handed her the bag. Now they spent the whole day there, as he was mainly instructing and keeping an eye on her. As she finally got to the last rock and did not crush it, as this was a huge sigh of relief from Issei, as he actually went up to her and patted her head, saying she did a very good job. Now tomorrow we'll do the same thing until you don't crush any. We'll start with reading, letters, and speaking. And finally, Argot just told me while I was doing all this that you actually can use magic now that you're my familiar. And it's best you learn to control it since that's how you're going to be able to go in and out of your previous form. After saying that, they went back home. Now, it's been a month and a half, and they've been training non-stop, with her and him trying to do his own training. And she's finally able to change back and forth at will to her more monstrous form, but it's actually where she's 300 feet tall now. So that made me say, go, great. Now I have a literal monster at my beck and call. She can also get her clothes on and even bathe herself, but she insists on taking baths and sleeping with Issei at all times. As he's just finally decided to deal with it and resign to his fate about it. She sometimes moans and groans about it in his head without saying anything because he doesn't want to upset her. Last time he did that, she cried nonstop, and he did not have a good day with his parents after that. Now, since it's around that time of the month, they realize it's time for Issei and the whole family to go down to the mountains where they have a small town, and they've decided to help their grandparents out since they're here to do all the shopping and everything. Sorry. As they get to the small town, Issei and Godzilla are just told to go walk around town since Godzilla's not used to being around people, and this is a good learning experience for her. Especially since mostly what they're going to get is just stuff they can get on their own. As they are walking around, they're greeting and saying hi to various people. As they get to a clearing that's kind of towards the center of town, it has trees and even a swing set on it. When they get there, they see this girl, and this girl being her. But as they both decide just to leave her uh, alone, since she seems to be eating some kind of sweet or something that clearly looks like a pepper by the tree. As they go to the swing set, as you see, it's actually pushing Godzilla up and down, teaching her how to swing. As the girl walks up to them, saying, "My name is Orpheus, and I want that." As she pointed at Godzilla, doing this made Issei really angry, as he didn't like her being treated like this. And Arcad spoke up very quickly, saying, "Oh crap, that's my daughter Orpheus. Be careful," Issei. She's the equivalent of a god dragon, being born from me after all. Even though I'm a true dragon, she said confidently. As Godzilla got down and hissed at her, so Orpheus saying, "Why something as strong as you serving a human is beyond me." She walked up and jabbed her finger right into Issei's chest, as he actually just grabbed her finger, giving her a death glare. As Issei finally spoke up, saying, "She's my friend, so leave her alone." As Orpheus just gave him a disinterested look, responding to him, saying, "You made a familiar your friend. How lonely are you? Thus, with that kind of power, that thing could destroy nations. And yet, once again, you made it your friend. You are worthless to me and that thing, aren't you?" As she tried to grab Godzilla in this moment, but the rage in Issei built to its climax. He quickly grabbed her, twisted her around, and pinned her to the swing, saying this out loud. Leaving Leave her alone, you filthy, dirty baby dragon. Even though Issei said this, he realized that was the biggest mistake of his life, because after saying this, he could see the pure murderous killing intent pouring out of this Orpheus, as she just decided right then and there to grab both Issei and Godzilla, as they must have been teleported with magic because they're back at the cliff area. As she had grabbed Issei by the neck and flung him into a nearby tree, cracking it. The tree quickly hit the ground hard, as Issei was already in an intense amount of pain, to the point where it was completely unbearable. As he looked up with his vision blurred, seeing Godzilla fire beams at Orpheus, she dodges them very quickly, and just as quick jabs her with a punch, knocking Godzilla back. As they have a brawl, as Orpheus is just simply weaving and dodging everything that Godzilla could throw at her, smiling, saying, "You have great power even in that form. Why do you waste it by serving him?" As Godzilla got so angry, she lunged forward and grabbed her, spinning her around and then tossing her down into the very valley area below them. As she turned into her full form, as this happened, it finally happened. As Orpheus said this, and she was completely excited, her even saying, "Yes, with this power you possess, I can get revenge on that son of a..." As Godzilla stomped her before she could even finish, so Orpheus just easily lifted up her foot and jumped out of the way. As she then darted up to Godzilla's stomach, kicking her right into it, setting her back a bit. As this was happening, Isai got to the edge of the cliff, watching all this going down, wishing he could help, but he's just useless in this state. He wanted power. He needed power. As he felt more and more useless, as a dark aura formed around him, and a figure appeared and disappeared, going inside of the aura. As this all-out brawling battle was still raging on, as Orpheus was now just blitz punching Godzilla's body. As even Godzilla was trying to fight back, using her tail, swinging at her, doing everything she can, but Orpheus generally catched everything, and when she swung her tail this time, she caught it and slammed it down. Then she decided to jab Godzilla hard enough to make her fall down. As she finally raised her atomic blast, she was about to fire it at Orpheus. She simply just kicked her in the jaw. Doing this, it forced her to tilt her head upward and sending the very blast she was about to send into space. As Orpheus decided this was enough, as she dropped down, grabbing Godzilla's tail, spinning around until she flung her into the air. As she did this, she quickly jumped up into the air and drop kicked Godzilla in the face, landing back on the top of the cliff area. As the dust settled, Issei saw that Godzilla was back in human form, Orpheus standing on her neck, saying, "I thought you could be useful, but if you serve such a weak master, you're worthless to me. So, time to die." As she raised her fist, pulling it back, as Issei seeing Godzilla about to be killed for protecting him. As he screamed out in his own mind that he had a dragon in him and he was this powerless. But a phantom appeared. When he looked up, seeing a woman, she had flowing black hair with golden stars dotting in her hair. She was that, and her hair covered her whole back, so it was almost down to the bottom of her, what should be her feet. She had wide eyes. The rest of her body was covered in pitch black darkness. As she speaks, "So you're about to lose your friend again, since you have no power of your own. I mean, why bother? Just let her die." As this made Issei fill with rage and regret, as she continued, "I mean, after all, you were told that your power came from your emotions, but that girl seems completely worthless to you. Huh?" As Issei started feeling despair, hatred, and his weakness all over again. Is a woman just gone in issei's back, saying, "But if you could use that power, you could save her, keep her safe, make her yours and yours alone. But why would you need that, right?" Then Issei feels this happiness, desire, and love pouring all over him. As the woman covers Issei's eyes, saying, "So, what will it be? Losing her or becoming absolute and saving her?" As then all the emotions Issei was feeling at this moment got to their boiling point, as it released all out of him, as his eyes glowed golden, as this caused the phantom to start to disappear. But before doing so, saying, "Little one, I am Eden, and next time when you feel this lost, weak, and unworthy, I will come to devour you into nothingness instead." As she disappeared, Issei in the real world has gotten up into a standing position at this point. As the punch was about to go down, Orpheus sensed something she thought died a long time ago, saying in shock, "Heart God, that can't be you." She realized this was the only thing in the world that would be able to kill her. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry, I got a phone call from a relative. Continuing. As the punch was about to go down, Orpheus sensed something she thought died a long time ago, as saying in shock, "Heart God, that can't be you." She realized the only thing in this world that would be able to kill her in an instant was our God, for Orpheus represented the devourer, infinity, chaos, and nothingness. But our God was the very nothingness she came from, for she was her daughter. Her power and all of her abilities came from our God, being her spawn. And without our God losing her life by all of creation attacking her that day, Orpheus would not be the dragon that all fear. As the original dragon all feared was the true absolute being in this world was our God, her mother. As this caused her for the first time in her long life to know that fear once more. As the last time she pissed her off, she devoured the world. As she turned to see Issei with complete fear in her eyes, seeing a black and golden visor was now on his face, as he simply said the words, "Devour." As the area around him was being turned into nothing, the grass was no more, the trees surrounding them were gone, and the rocks, well, it was as if they were never there to begin with. As he disappeared and reappeared in front of Orpheus, kicking her off of Godzilla, sending her flying back. He then blitzed forward as she raised her fist. She knows this is a weakened state of her mother's power, so she can win this. But as she threw her fist, Issei saying, "Devour," as she felt her power being devoured by him. As she grabbed her fist, flipping and slamming her down on the ground. As he just quickly grabbed her neck before she could move, saying the words "devour" over and over and over and over again. And when Orpheus thinks she's about to die because she's lost all her strength and power in this moment, he stops as he walks away, leaving her in that state. Issei returning to Godzilla, saying, "Devour, heal." It's all the power he had up to this point. He used to heal her injuries. As Orpheus screamed out, "What are you doing? Why did you stop?" Then Issei walked back up to her, saying, "Honestly, I did want to kill you, but I know our God personally would never want me to do that. She's your mother, and someone that would take away a mother's daughter's life right in front of her is one of the worst things to ever do." As he scratches his face and blushing a bit, then saying, "Plus, if I did that to a cute and beautiful girl like you, I would never be able to live with myself." As Orpheus realizing after hearing this, her heart skipped a beat, and she started to blush heavily, while understanding why. She was doing this, as Issei all of a sudden just collapsed right next to her. So Orpheus noticed that he must have used up all his energy after healing that thing. She decided to pick Issei and Godzilla up, carried them to the nearby cave, and she laid them down. But when she did this, she was transported to Issei's soul, and she saw a familiar black dragon and a voice can be heard. Well, it's nice to see you, my daughter. And she then coils herself around Orpheus, saying, So, what do you have to say? And she gets a death glare from her. Orpheus getting down on her hands and knees, saying, I'm so sorry for attacking the familiar of your user, mother. Had I known who he was, I would have helped you. As Argot smiled, responding, Oh, you want to help us? She shakes her head. As she then responds to the action, you will help Issei out, plus give you a chance to be one of his lovers at this point. As Orpheus gave a very confused look, then Argot saying, After all, what that boy just did was steal your heart, was it not? That's why he was beating so fast. This caused Orpheus to freak out a bit. Instead, she then added to it, Plus, I've always wanted to have grandchildren. At this point, Orpheus just passed out from embarrassment. It's caused Argot to laugh quite loudly. Then saying, Oh, my beloved daughter, you will learn what it means as I did in time. Now, time has passed in the real world, and Issei's woken up to find both Orpheus and Godzilla cuddling him, as he's completely brain dead, just trying to figure out what had happened. Zargod spoke up. It's okay, my daughter and Godzilla are just sleeping. So now, would you like to know what happened to you? As Issei asks, Yeah, what happened to me? She responds with, You finally unlocked the ability to use my power without my help. It's just the base form, and you have a limit in weaknesses now. But thanks to your emotions at the time, you broke the limit temporarily. As Issei asks, So what are the limit in weaknesses? And she's saying now the limit is like all sacred gears basically. It's based on your physical body's limitations. You can only devour so much before you reach your maximum. Now your weaknesses are as such. You're considered a dragon now, so anything that affects a dragon harms you now as well. Next, by devourability, you should see it like eating. And you can only eat so much before you run out of room. Plus, this power will affect your stamina, so it will drain you if you're not careful. But since I am comparing it to eating, if you eat too much, you will enter something called burst state, which drains your power that you have gotten totally so far, then hurts you equal to the physical capabilities you exceeded on your own. Argot taking a deep breath, saying, That's basically it. So be more careful now, you say. As he's saying, as he said, Okay, our God. As Godzilla woke up, saying morning. As he said, pat her head. As he knows she has been trying so hard to learn how to speak to Issei. As she turns around to see Orpheus, she starts to growl at her. As Issei tapped her in the head, saying, No, don't do that. She's a friend. As he picked up Orpheus, realizing she's now the same age as him and Godzilla, saying to himself, Okay, what happened? As Orpheus woke up, saying, Oh, you're awake. Sorry about attacking you earlier. By the way, Mom will explain why I'm like this. Can you please, Mom? She gave a puppy dog look. I got sighing, saying, Well, it seems she's shapeshifted herself to be younger. My daughter's always been like this about her form. And she takes even a deeper sigh. Then, speaking once more, well, now, you're about to bring another girl home with their parents. They're going to completely freak out. As Issei saying, So, you shapeshift to be the same age as me and Godzilla, right? It's Orpheus nodding her head, responding, Also, I'm going to be living with you now, okay? I need to make sure Mom and her power are in good hands after all. She blushed after saying this. She then shook her head, saying, Okay, let's teleport back. As then a magic circle appears under them. And back they were where they were just standing earlier. As Easy put Orpheus down. As they walked back into town and headed to where their family was. As Issei's family saw that there was a new girl with Issei. As they all walked up to them. As Issei then gestured, saying, "This is Orpheus. She knows about Godzilla and needs a place to stay, sadly." Zella gave Issei a "what the hell" look. As Orpheus saying, "Yes, my name is Orpheus," as Issei said. "I knew Godzilla's mother, but sadly she passed away in an accident near her. So I came in search of her since my mother was in that accident as well. So we're both now parentless. So can I please stay?" As she gave him a puppy dog look, as Issei's parents just ate it up, saying it's completely fine with them. As Issei's grandfather walked up to Issei, slightly shoulder tapping him, saying, "I'm so proud of you. You're already starting to have a harem at this age." As he cried, this causing Issei's mom and grandmother to get really mad at him and grab him, and they beat him senselessly. Now it's finally time for them to leave their grandparents' house. During this time period, Godzilla finally actually learned how to read and started writing, but still has trouble speaking. As Orpheus has been eating nothing but sweets and peppers because she uses her cuteness to get whatever she wants from Issei's parents and grandparents. And during this time, Issei's been training his body to use the power of Argod's abilities more effectively. As they get to the places they've been training since they're leaving first thing in the morning, as Godzilla is watching Orpheus and Issei fight each other, as Orpheus has been throwing Issei around like a ragdoll, since he does not want to use Argod's power until he gets stronger, since it can kill him, especially at this early stage. He's also been informed his limit to use the visor or the base form of the power is only 10 seconds, since his body's not strong enough even right now to use it for very long. As they finally finish sparring, Orpheus is saying, "You're really going to need to train in martial arts, in particular a weapon." So he's saying, "Okay, I get martial arts, but why the weapon?" So Orpheus is saying, "You can channel mom's power better through a weapon, but I honestly think it'd have to be a close range one, because a gun would actually get devoured by it. But something like a normal sword is also out." As she taps her face, as Issei asked, "Well, why doesn't a normal sword also work?" So I'm just saying simple, her power would devour a normal sword. As then it hit her, remembering what she had. She pulled out a pure black sword with a golden handle, saying, "This is the Nether Edict, the Void Bane, as it's called. It was made by my mother, with her power in mind, but only you can use it. I can't even use it, to be honest. Plus, the art of making these weapons was lost ages ago until my mother came back. So, until she tells you how to use this method, it's really the only option you have right now." And she finally handed the sword over to Issei, as it glowed a dark golden color in his hands. Issei said, "So, I can use this to supplement the power of the gear. Though it'd be weaker, I'm assuming, right?" As he Orsi responded with yes, "But unless you know how to use a sword, it's kind of useless right now to you." As Issei even nodded his head in agreement on this, as he slashed with it, as he cut a tree. He then decided to channel that golden dark aura he saw again, as he slashed it once more. He heard the words in his head saying "devour," as it completely devoured the tree. It made him feel stronger, but only by a little bit. So he's saying, "Oh, so this is how it works. It still makes me stronger, but only as minute to a little as I assumed. This makes using my power a much safer option, doesn't it?" As Orpheus saying, "Correct. My mom used it in her human form. This was meant for her to use it so she could find a more equal playing field with other beings." As she smiled out, with Issei asking Argod, "So, is that true?" As Argod saying, "Yep, it's true. So, it's been a long time since I saw that. Tell Orpheus I say thank you for keeping it safe and maintaining it all this time." As he spoke out loud, saying, "Hey, Orpheus, your mom says thanks for keeping it safe and maintaining the sword. So it's a personal thank you from me as well." As he smiles, making Orpheus blush a bit. She's saying, "It's my mother's sword. Of course I would keep it safe." After that, they went back to the house. As Issei knows, Godzilla's been sad the whole day. As Argot's saying, "She's not sad. You made her upset. You better apologize tonight. As he say, telling, what did I do? As she responded, with the affairs of a woman's heart is something you should have mastered as my partner the second we became one. As he say, saying, sighed, thinking, not really, no. As they were going to bed, and for the first time in all these nights, Godzilla's hugging a pillow instead of hugging him, which actually made him feel pretty jealous. As he finally saying, what's wrong? If I did something wrong, I will apologize for it. Is Godzilla still mad at him, not even looking at him, saying, am I worthless to you? CC said, no, why? Would you think that? They're actually responding with, you only asked Orpheus to train with you. Caesar really was going on as he grabbed her from behind, hugging her, saying, it's because I care way too much about you. That if I hurt you, I'd never be able to live with myself. Okay? Is Godzilla still mad at him, but blushed, saying, okay, I'm not as mad now. Issei was happy in the sense she forgave him. As Orpheus popped in the bed and called Issei's back, saying, I need my Issei time. And when Issei heard, and when Godzilla heard this, it made her really mad, and she forced Issei to let go, turn around, and hug him from the front. As she was grabbing him very tightly, and then even growling at Orpheus, with Orpheus responding saying, learn to share. It's going to be a chick magnet in the future, trust me. They had a heating staring contest for most of the night, as we cut to a person with blue wings saying, so this is what the mistress felt. I should report back to her. It's now time for them to leave their grandparents' house. As they were heading back to their hometown, as Orpheus and Godzilla were sleeping on Issei's shoulder while he was playing a handheld game, so Arcot finally spoke up to him, saying, be careful. As Issei asked why, an ice phoenix has been watching you, with her response. Issei is then responding, wait, an ice phoenix? I thought they were birds of fire. As Arcot responded once more, saying, ice phoenix are similar. This actually caused Issei to be curious enough to ask, so what makes them different exactly? Zargot explained, well, here's the story many know. See, one day a phoenix who lost its beloved one was said to be so heartbroken it froze its heart. By doing this, it made its once bright red flames of life, warmth, and compassion turn into a deep blue, as these flames were filled with loss, sorrow, and regret. For when this happened, its flames began to freeze everything near it. Using the wind to carry its very flames, it is said it turned entire lands into frozen tundras, for it felt all should know its pain. As Issei said, that's actually pretty sad. Zargod said, let me finish. There is a happy ending to the story after all. One day, it said a young man braced the tundra, as he finally found what was causing it, the phoenix. As he asked why was it sad, the answer it lost its most precious person to them. So the young man simply asked, would they have wanted this? As this caused the phoenix to cry. It is said these tears, when they hit the ground, turned the very frozen tundra back into the very grass it once was. And she responded saying no. So the man then walked up to her and asked, why don't I become someone that's precious to you as well? The phoenix, very happy to hear this, and taken aback by the man's actions, gave it its blessing, and this man became the first ever ice phoenix. This is a story told by the Tora family, why they wield this power and where it came from. After he heard this, Issei asked, so it's best when we get settled in to start training again, right? As Argad said, correct. As they got home, with Issei saying, we have the extra room upstairs, right? Are they going to stay there? With Issei's parents saying yes, but we have to get that room ready for them. So for the next couple of days, they're staying in your room, as they did during their grandparents' stay. But Issei just sighed, saying, he knew this was coming, as he got really depressed. This Godzilla actually patted his head, trying to make him feel better. Orpheus said, well, in a smug tone, I thought I could see a blushing mess that we are still spending all our time with you, but not today. As they all walked in the house, settling down. Now the following day has rolled around. As Issei walked to the front door, as he could hear banging. Once he got to the door, he opened it to see a short chestnut hair with violet eyes, being his childhood friend, standing in front of him. He's saying, Irina, why are you here? She's saying, we only got 3 months left to hang out, so I came straight over once I knew you'd be here. She pushed him out of the way as she got towards the kitchen area. Seeing Orpheus and Godzilla were still eating at the table as they were about to be finished, and she turned around, grabbing Izuku by the neck, saying, why are there 2 girls in your house as soon as you get back? She gave him a death glare as Godzilla and Orpheus finished eating and quickly ran up to Issei, grabbing a hold of him in a tight hug as they both gave her a death glare look, saying, I don't know who you are, but he's ours. As Godzilla growled at him very viciously, and even Orpheus growled at her. As Arena responded, my name is Arena Shido, and I am Izuku's true first friend, not you two, so he's mine. Spark was flying between them as Issei's dad was crying, saying, my son has a harem at 3 years old. I am both jealous and proud of him. As Issei finally getting their attention, saying, let's all go play, so we can get to know each other better. They all said fine, even though they were still angry. Issei was sweating beads, thinking, I just touched a bullet. As we cut to a young girl, long ice blonde, with long, ice blue hair, pale white blue eyes, as she was sipping tea. As another girl walked into the room, she had light green hair with gray dotting it and a ponytail, and her eyes were as black as the night. She had walked to the young girl in the room with papers that she handed them, saying, here they are, my lady. She looked them over, saying, thank you. This I should go meet with Lord Sir Zex. She got up, and she was led by a servant to an office room. As she entered to see a man with shoulder-length red hair and blue-green eyes, saying, why, hello there, Lady Eos Tora of the Ice Phoenixes. You saying you have something very urgent to report to me. As she handed the report over. As she read it, a grave face overcame him as she responded, are you sure about this? With her nodding, as Sir Zex saying, so this boy has a familiar. They're saying strong enough to compete with a former Dragon King Tannin. And Orpheus, out of all things in this world, is with this boy and spending time with him. And he could possibly believe a sacred gear. And you could confirm all this information you've gathered so far. And she nodded her head once more, as he sat back in his chair sighing and saying, we really need to get this boy on our side. Because if all of this is true, he has enough power to sweep any faction to complete victory over the other 3. As he sighs even more, with Eos responding to him, saying, I will try my best to make a connection with this boy, my lord. As he responded with his own answer, I hate to ask you of this, but see that you do. It's now nighttime. As Issei was asleep, as a voice pierced his head. It was very familiar, as it saying, devour, we must devour, or be gone for good. As he sees a golden gem form, as it disappears into a void. He awakens in a cold sweat, as our God said, sorry about that, partner. One of my past memories entering your mind. The more you use my power, the more it will happen. As Issei asked, why did you need to do that? She responded with, this is part of my final moments. It's when all of creation attacked me and I was dying. I wanted to live so much you could say that my desire to live as I was devouring myself actually turned me into a sacred gear because I was trying anything to live in the instant. Also, from that point on, I was floating into the place called the Dimensional Gap. I accidentally created when I did that. And I was there for a very long time until that great red, a complete bastard, threw me out. To be honest, if we see that thing, we are killing it. Do I make myself clear? As Issei said, okay. But I do know one thing, as Arcot asked what? As Issei pointed out the window. How should we deal with her? As a young blue-haired girl floated down in front of Issei's window. as she opened it, saying, "My name is Eos Tora. It is an honor to meet you, Issei Hyodo." With that, I'm done with the video and recording. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm sorry for the pause in the middle, but I was not expecting getting a phone call from my relative. So this is Real Guardian signing off.